Did you know that the most luxurious Buick on Earth is a van?
Welcome to Wheels Boy, where we cover the newest, coolest, and wildest vehicles from the Chinese car market. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
This is the Buick GL8 Encasa, a plug-in hybrid luxury family van that's only sold here in the Chinese market. Those of you who are familiar with the regular GL8 MPV will know that it's targeted at more commercial clients, people who are carrying around business people, but this one is more for families, and that's reflected in the design, as opposed to the big, in-your-face, garish front end of a regular GL8. You have this closed-off, more subtle, less imposing front end. But it's still got a big old beautiful chrome Buick logo right here. This thing is larger in every dimension than the minivans we're used to seeing in the United States, the Honda Odyssey, the Toyota Sienna. It's 5.26 meters in length with a wheelbase of 3.16 meters. Here on the rear end, you have a beautiful lighting signature that looks a bit like the wings of a bird. In the middle, we've got a big, bold Buick logo. Buick's not going anywhere, everybody. They are sticking around here in the Chinese car market, and this is a sign that they're making a strong effort to come back when it comes to sales. Speaking of big, let's talk about the rear cargo area. 630 liters if the third row is up. If you fold them down, which you can do at the touch of a button, and move forward those second row seats, you can get up to 2,036 liters. The interior of this Buick GL8 Encasa is not going to look very familiar to you if you're used to seeing the cars they sell in places like the United States. In here, you've got 3 screens, 10.25-inch instrument cluster. You've got a 16.3-inch center screen and a 16.3-inch passenger screen. But actually, there's even more screens than that, because this is a digital rear view mirror. And in front of me is a big heads-up display. There are a lot of areas in here where you can see that Buick is trying to make an effort to adapt to what Chinese consumers want to see. In addition to all the screens, you also have things like this, a refrigerator between the seats, which is open with this nice little strap here. That thing can keep stuff as cold as -10 degrees Celsius and as warm as 50 degrees Celsius. Another sign is these magnetic areas on the dashboard. There's one on the left side here for the driver and one on the right side over there for the passengers. These are for placing things like a phone mount or even a little vase for some flowers. This is a function we've been seeing more and more on other cars from Chinese brands, and obviously Buick is trying to keep up with the times. These seats are some of the thickest and most comfortable I've ever experienced in an American car. They are made from real Napa leather, and they've got tons of different layers of material. Underneath those layers, you've got heating, cooling, and massaging functions. The real action, though, happens in the second row, and getting into the second row is quite easy. First of all, they've got this dual level handle, so if you're a little kid, say about this tall, you can grab this part. If you're an adult, say about this tall, you might feel more comfortable grabbing right there. When you step into the car, you'll notice that they've made the step right here much wider than I've seen in other MPVs or minivans, and so I can just get in real easy like that. There's a few ways to close the door from here. You can use the button that's there on the B-pillar. There's also one on the door here. Or if you're feeling a little bit lazy, you can always just use your hand. Here in the second row, you've got creature comforts like heated, cooled, and massaging seats, which you can adjust via this little screen here on the center console. As you can see, this little screen on the center console can also be popped out like this, making it easier for you to adjust your seat, your air conditioning, or maybe your sunshade. The interior lighting in here has different modes and intensities, and while this looks like a single strip, it's actually separate strips. So if I hit this button, I can turn off my part of the strip and leave it on for the third row. Or if I do it this way, I can turn off the third row and leave on the second row. There are a whole lot of ways to charge your devices back here. In addition to the outlet that's on the back of the center console, you also have a wireless charging pad in this little cubby right here. And underneath of that, you've got 2 charging ports, a Type A and a Type C. course, it wouldn't be complete without a big old rear screen. In this case, it's a 21-inch 4K display that is touch control, as you can see, but if you would like to lean back and relax, you can also pop out your little controller here and use this as your remote control and scroll through the menus like so. The GL8 Encasa has a 16-speaker sound system to go along with that rear screen. Not as many as the 25, 30, even 40-plus speakers we see in some other Chinese models, so that's one area where they could try a little harder to catch up. There are, of course, zero-gravity seats in this car on both sides, and the ones over here on the right are actually very intelligent. If I activate zero-gravity mode through the center screen right here, it will put my seat into zero gravity mode, but because it senses there is a person in the first row, it won't adjust their seat. It will just adjust my seat as far as it can. So I get a nice comfortable seating position without interrupting their comfort. The seats in the third row aren't quite as functional as the ones in the second row. They lack the heating, cooling, and massaging. It's actually surprising to see that they lack heating. That's something you see in most of this car's competitors, whether they're MPVs or SUVs. It does have some of the other things they have, such as a nice soft armrest, a cup holder right here, and dual charging ports. Once again, it's a Type A and a Type C. The third row, however, is adjustable both forward and aft, as well as in terms of rake, and you can adjust the second row via the buttons here in the third row. I'm 1.75 meters or 5 foot 9 inches tall, and with that seat adjusted for me to have plenty of legroom, I've also got a decent amount of legroom here in the third row of the Encasa. Headroom as well. If you are able to adjust the rake of the third row back a little bit, headroom is quite sufficient. Now that I've touched on it, I feel like I should mention the fact that this thing has a very nice Alcantara or micro suede covered headliner that is soft. Not only does the second row have privacy shades, the third row has them as well.
I prefer to recommend products that I've tested myself, and after taking it on a 1,000-plus kilometer road trip through some of the toughest roads in China, I've definitely tested the Enroad Roof Box. This Red Dot Design Award-winning storage solution can be installed in just 5 minutes thanks to quick-release clamps and features fingerprint locks and dual-side opening. The unique Power Cube charges via a solar panel, lighting your campsite and powering your devices wherever you go. With its safety front lock and 400 or 450-liter capacity, it's both safe and spacious. Check the link in the description below to get your own Enroad Roof Box today.
For today, we're only going to get a static experience of the GL8 Encasa, but I am definitely looking forward to driving this on the road because I want to try out General Motors' plug-in hybrid powertrain. Now, currently in places like the United States, there are no plug-in hybrid or extended range or pure electric Buicks, but here in China, they've got all three. This thing, we don't know a great deal of numbers about it. We just know that the 0 to 100 kilometer per hour time, or 0 to 62 mile per hour, is 5.8 seconds, and its max torque is 775 Newton meters. Now, maybe you don't speak Newton meters, but just know that's a lot of torque. So the driving experience ought to be pretty interesting. It's also got adjustable height and stiffness air suspension. There is going to be a dynamic driving event quite soon, so be sure to stay tuned to the Wheels Boy channel so we can bring you our full impressions of the GL8 Encasa very soon. That's going to do it for today's video. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms, links in the description below. And as always, like, subscribe, and hit the bell.